I'd like to start right away with those important talks coming up in November. What's at stake? What specific actions do you hope world leaders will take? And what's the cost if those steps are not taken?
There's a lot at stake. For every COP that we have, there is a breaking moment. And for Glasgow, this is about lives, it's about livelihoods. It's really about having a breakthrough on the Paris Agreement to make sure that we keep with 1.5 degrees. And so that journey to COP less than a month away, what we will be looking to see are all those ingredients to a package that are needed for us to come out to say, yes, the world is on track to meeting the Paris commitments. And they will have to do with trade, they will have to do with finance, they will have to do with NDCs at each and every country, national determined contributions that will meet the ambitions of working towards net zero. So a lot at stake, and I can't say enough, as you've seen with all the programs most recently, there really is a red alert. We picked a fight with nature, it's fighting back, and we've got to make peace, and making peace is that Paris Agreement, and the key elements to it are those that have been discussed in the General Assembly at the UN that passed last week, and those that we will see being discussed in Paris.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the finance aspect that you just mentioned. Rich countries pledged $1 billion by 2020 to help less wealthy nations reduce emissions. Many of those targets are not being met. What can the UN do, and what should be done to make sure that some of those targets are met or other ones are put in place?
Well, the 100 billion every year by this time now is long overdue, and it hasn't been met. The meetings that leaders came to, convened by the Secretary-General last week, managed to get a little more on the table. The United States put $11.4 billion on the table. That's to the 100 billion. It's not the 100 billion that is going to be the investments that are needed for climate action. We are going to need trillions, but it is the handshake to say the world is going to be serious about this, and the rich world, the world that actually has had most to do with putting the burden of the climate crisis on the shoulders of the most vulnerable. So what the UN will continue to do is to advocate for those resources to come annually, to provide and convene the spaces for others to move and to crowd in more finance that countries can leverage. The private sector will be one sector that one will look at. But essentially, this is going to be about our rich countries stepping up and providing the finances that are needed for adaptation, that are needed to make the transitions on energy, on connectivity, on food systems. The list goes on to what we can do, huge opportunities. But right now we need leadership to step up and put, as they say, your money where your mouth is.